As someone who hadn't returned to Fallout 76's post-apocalyptic West Virginia since its troubled debut back in 2018, 6 years really has made quite the difference. Appalachia looks pretty dang gorgeous on modern systems. Its reworked leveling and perks make for an extremely engaging grind, and the world is actually filled with interesting NPCs to chat up.
Hey, get the hell out of here! Oh, you're not one of those creeps.
You know, like a Fallout game. Throw in all the new quests and activities, and you've got yourself a pretty robust multiplayer adventure filled with gore and silliness. That said, there's still plenty Fallout 76 misses the mark on in 2024. Whether it's an endgame that's fairly light on content, underwhelming jaunts into other areas of the Fallout setting, or an encumbrance and storage system that's so irritating it's practically a requirement to pay for a monthly subscription that eases the pain. I've still overwhelmingly enjoyed my time blasting ghouls into pink, irradiated meat chunks though, and can easily recommend it to anyone who similarly felt a deep yearning for more Fallout after watching the recent TV show. Like the other 3D Fallout games, Fallout 76 is a goofy first-person shooter RPG where you explore a radioactive wasteland stuffed with disgusting monsters, complete harebrained quests that usually involve shooting and/or dismembering said monsters, and claim loot to fuel your badass survivor's legend. It mixes up that playful and gory formula by letting your friends join your quest online, which comes with most of the advantages and drawbacks you might expect. A compelling story and the ability to make major decisions that impact it certainly take a back seat, but on the other hand, you get to fight giant flying gargoyles with your buds. As a Vault Dweller, you emerge from the titular Vault 76 only 25 years after atomic warfare has left the world in tatters, at which point you are vaguely told to go rebuild it or something. Instead, you'll spend most of your time doing this. You'll also run around completing errands foisted upon you by survivors, computer terminals, and constant pop-ups that recommend you do things like kill farmhand supervisors. There are definitely some funny gags, wacky characters, and even the occasionally interesting bit of lore along the way, but Fallout 76 largely ditches the focus on story found in its single-player siblings in favor of letting you and your friends tell your own stories in a big sandbox filled with ridiculous nonsense, which can be a lot of fun in its own way.
Hey kid, how you doing?
Running around shooting things and making use of the still excellent VATS auto-targeting mechanic as you loot everything in sight is as entertaining as ever, especially when you've got your favorite radio station providing the perfect backdrop for horribly mangling all manner of hideous beast and smack-talking marauder. You can go around slinging a revolver like one of them Western outlaw types, or put on a massive suit of power armor and do this. Combine that with perks that can do wild things like make you brawnier as you're exposed to more radiation, as well as mutations that could give you scaly skin that serves as a natural layer of armor, and you're in for some pretty great build crafting that adds to the insanity. There's really nothing quite like it, and Fallout 76 manages to retain most of the beloved moment-to-moment combat and exploration the series is known for, despite pivoting to online multiplayer. Although you can absolutely play alone, teaming up with others is unquestionably the better experience. You're given additional XP for bringing along a friend, not to mention you're able to take on tougher activities with less difficulty. It's also especially nice to have company since many of the quests are so light on dialogue, and interactions with NPCs are more focused on action, while passive story developments come in over your Pip-Boy radio. It's really cool that other players can help out on missions regardless of their level, thanks to a scaling system that makes almost every activity playable for everyone. One of the main things that's been added in recent years are expeditions, which pull you out of Appalachia and send you on brief tours of new and returning regions of Fallout's post-apocalyptic America. In Atlantic City, you run around swamps and casinos, shooting living plants that annoyingly regenerate their health, while in Pittsburgh, you fight against psychotic raiders and disgusting mutants to help out the former steelworkers there. Unfortunately, each of these regions amount to just 3 short side quests that can be completed in a couple hours total, and don't have their own open world maps to explore. Instead, you just pop in, shoot new enemies in some admittedly cool regions, and are then quickly sent back to West Virginia with zero fanfare. I get that these areas were added as free DLC over a number of years, but they were disappointingly thin nonetheless. The main world map, though, is still impressively large and filled with a lot more things to discover than when I last explored it. There's a creepy and highly radioactive swamp in the northeast, a barren and deadly stretch of land filled with the toughest enemies to the southeast, and even a water park to shoot up if you're in need of a vacation in the far north. Not only are these massive expanses beautiful in a disturbing kind of way and enjoyable to trek through with friends, they're perfect for setting up camp and building a base on, which is a major part of Fallout 76. You can fill your outposts with useful workbenches, vending machines, resources, and storage containers that will make your life easier while out exploring the world. Unlocking building schematics, crafting furniture, and defensive units, and making your bases bigger, better, and more impressive can be a really compelling part of the endgame, though you'll need to collect and scrap a whole lot of junk to fuel those habits. Sadly, a lot of Fallout 76, especially base building, is limited by some very irritating storage capacities, both in what your character is able to carry and the maximum amount of loot you're able to store in the global inventory of your unique stash chest. As it turns out, the best way to combat this issue is by paying real money to subscribe to Fallout First, which gives you access to separate storage chests for your ammo and raw materials, among other things, greatly reducing the annoying capacity limits. It's pretty silly that stocking up on valuables you need to keep your guns loaded and your camp supplied isn't feasible unless you pay what is essentially a monthly loot toll, in addition to Fallout 76's upfront price, especially in a game that incorporates survival mechanics where you regularly need a whole lot of junk to keep the action moving along. Like plenty of ongoing multiplayer games, you'll likely spend most of your time working through the endgame once you've completed all the main story content and reached the soft-capped max level of 50, which took me about 40 hours total. While Fallout 76 tempts you with infinitely repeatable public activities, limited time events, seasonal unlocks, and more, there isn't a ton of content to actually chew on. Daily missions and public events, like one where the whole server is called to push back an alien invasion, provide some hilariously chaotic action, and the ability to launch nuclear bombs onto the map and then march into the mushroom cloud to take on powerful enemies and claim amazing loot is dope as heck. It's just that there aren't really any activities that require that loot to be beaten, and so you'd only be doing so to flex on your friends or prepare for theoretical future content that is more demanding. I do really enjoy the ability to level up and unlock new perks endlessly though, especially the legendary perks that only unlock once you've overleveled past the soft cap. Even if you're not given any scenarios where you need these perks to prevail against your foes, some legendary options have truly awesome effects, like one that makes you generate combat-enhancing consumables out of thin air for every 40 minutes you spend playing. That makes trying to unlock them all entertaining, just not particularly compelling. Fallout 76 has come a long way since 2018, transforming into something that's much closer to the original Fallout with Friends pitch that was so enticing about it. The combat, exploration, and RPG systems all feel so good that it's easy to lose dozens of hours running around the massive map, getting lost in over-the-top action. That said, this wasteland still has plenty of room to grow, as its added expeditions are less interesting than I'd hoped for. The endgame is still a bit thin, and the inventory system seems designed to infuriate, or worse, to twist your arm into paying for a real money subscription to ease the pain. Even still, I never thought I'd return to Appalachia after my initially harrowing experience with it, but Bethesda has really put in the wrench time on this one, and I'm so glad I gave it another shot. For more, check out our performance review of Fallout 4's recent next-gen update, or to see how another older game has grown in the last 6 years, our 2024 review of Stardew Valley. And for everything else, stick with IGN.